Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule.
番組は多言語放送です。放送予定は suprememastertv.com/schedule。
Will he not think that heaven and the things in heaven are framed by the Creator of them in the most perfect manner? To find out more, please watch on for the engaging philosophical dialogue between the venerated Socrates, vegetarian, and Glaucon.
I'm a vegan out of my love and respect for animals as well as respect for myself. Being a vegan is a very healthy diet. Davey Havok, vegan.
Kirite Nastakala means greetings in Greek. I'm Dimitris. The contented people of Corfu thank you for your sincere prayers for a vegan world. May God bless you and your loved ones always. The venerated Socrates was born in Athens, Greece, circa 470 BC. Many people consider him to be the father of Western philosophy. Others think of him as an insightful teacher and an enlightened master. Socrates believed that an individual's main purpose on earth was to discover the truth. He stated that most people focus their lives around their families, careers, and social responsibilities, when in fact, they should be concerned about the welfare of their souls. With compassion for all life, Socrates followed and promoted a vegetarian diet. Most of the information about Socrates, his life and his philosophy, was transcribed after his departure by two of his students, Plato and Xenophon. These disciples wrote about their master in several books, in which Socrates is depicted as the main character. One of Plato's most famous and influential philosophical works is titled The Republic. It features valuable dialogues between Socrates and others, mainly on the topic of justice and also the philosopher's journey to acquiring higher knowledge. Today, we will continue with the excerpt from Plato's book The Republic, with a dialogue between the philosopher Socrates and Glaucon, where they discuss intellect, science, and understanding, the opinion of belief, and the perception of shadow. What knowledge will lead us to the real truth? Socrates said, as being is to becoming, so is pure intellect to opinion. And as intellect is to opinion, so is science to belief, and understanding to the perception of shadows. Socrates continues with, the spangled heavens should be used as a pattern, and with a view to that higher knowledge, their beauty is like the beauty of figures or pictures excellently wrought by the hand of Daedalus, or some other great artist, which we may have chanced to behold. Any geometrician who saw them would appreciate the exquisiteness of their workmanship, but he would never dream of thinking that in them he could find the true equal or the true double, or the truth of any other proportion. And will not a true astronomer have the same feeling when he looks at the movements of the stars? Will he not think that heaven and the things in heaven are framed by the Creator of them in the most perfect manner? But he will never imagine that the proportions of night and day, or of both to the month, or of the month to the year, or of the stars to these and to one another, and any other things that are material and visible, can also be eternal and subject to no deviation. That would be absurd, and it is equally absurd to take so much pains in investigating their exact truth. In astronomy, as in geometry, we should employ problems and let the heavens alone if we would approach the subject in the right way and so make the natural gift of reason to be of any real use. Motion has many forms, and not one only. Two of them are obvious enough even to wits no better than ours, and there are others, as I imagine, which may be left to wiser persons. There is a second, which is the counterpart of the one already named. The second would seem relatively to the ears to be what the first is to the eyes, for I conceive that as the eyes are designed to look up at the stars, so are the ears to hear harmonious motions, and these are sister sciences, as the Pythagoreans say, and we, Glaucon, agree with them. Yes, replied Glaucon. But this, Socrates continues, is a laborious study, and therefore we had better go and learn of them, and they will tell us whether there are any other applications of these sciences. At the same time, we must not lose sight of our own higher object. There is a perfection which all knowledge ought to reach, and which our pupils ought also to attain, and not to fall short of, as I was saying that they did in astronomy. For in the science of harmony, as you probably know, the same thing happens. The teachers of harmony compare the sounds and consonances that are heard only, and their labour, like that of the astronomers, is in vain. Yes, by heaven, Glaucon claims, and 'tis as good as a play to hear them talking about their condensed notes, as they call them. They put their ears close alongside of the strings like persons catching a sound from their neighbour's wall, one set of them declaring that they distinguish an intermediate note and have found the least interval which should be the unit of measurement, the others insisting that the two sounds have passed into the same, either party setting their ears before their understanding. Socrates responds, saying, "You mean those gentlemen who tease and torture the strings and rack them on the pegs of the instrument might carry on the metaphor and speak after their manner of the blows which the plectrum gives, and make accusations against the strings, both of backwardness and forwardness to sound. But this would be tedious, and therefore I will only say that these are not the men, and that I am referring to the Pythagoreans, of whom I was just now proposing to inquire about harmony, for they too are in error. Like the astronomers, they investigate the numbers of the harmonies which are heard, but they never attain to problems. That is to say, they never reach the natural harmonies of number, or reflect why some numbers are harmonious and others not. That is a thing of more than mortal knowledge, replies Glaucon. A thing, Socrates says, which I would rather call useful, that is, if sought after with a view to the beautiful and good, but if pursued in any other spirit, useless. Now when all these studies reach the point of intercommunion and connection with one another, and come to be considered in their mutual affinities, then, I think, but not till then, will the pursuit of them have a value for our objects. Otherwise, there is no profit in them. And so, Glaucon, we have at last arrived at the hymn of dialectic. This is that strain which is of the intellect only, but which the faculty of sight will nevertheless be found to imitate. For sight, as you may remember, was imagined by us after a while to behold the real animals and stars, and last of all the sun himself. And so, with dialectic, when a person starts on the discovery of the absolute by the light of reason only, and without any assistance of sense, and perseveres until by pure intelligence he arrives at the perception of the absolute good, he at last finds himself at the end of the intellectual world, as in the case of sight, at the end of the visible. Dear Glaucon, you should behold not an image only, but the absolute truth, according to my notion. Whether what I told you would or would not have been a reality, I cannot venture to say, but you would have seen something like reality. Of that I am confident. But I must also remind you that the power of dialectic alone can reveal this, and only to one who is a disciple of the previous sciences. Of that assertion you may be as confident as of the last. And assuredly, no one will argue that there is any other method of comprehending by any regular process all true existence, or of ascertaining what each thing is in its own nature. For the arts in general are concerned with the desires or opinions of men, or are cultivated with a view to production and construction, or for the preservation of such productions and constructions, And as to the mathematical sciences which, as we were saying, have some apprehension of true being, geometry and the like, they only dream about being, but never can they behold the waking reality so long as they leave the hypotheses which they use unexamined and are unable to give an account of them. For when a man knows not his own first principle, and when the conclusion and intermediate steps are also constructed out of he knows not what, how can he imagine that such a fabric of convention can ever become science?
Vegan, soaring without wings.
Blessed viewers, it's been a pleasure to have your company for today's Pure Intelligence in the Attainment of Pure Truth from Socrates, Vegetarian, Glaucon Dialogue in The Republic by Plato, Vegetarian, Part 2 of 2 on Words of Wisdom. Coming up next is Coming Together to Celebrate Supreme Master Ching Hai Day, Part 10 of 10, right after Noteworthy News. May the melodies of heavens accompany you always.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/WOW.